Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Well, hello, my next level friends. Welcome to a new episode of the Artist Next Level podcast. I'm very happy to be here with you today, my friend, because I want to share with you a Breakfast with Sergio episode that I did with my wife, Dr. Yanina Gomez. She's a mindset and wellness expert. She's an author. She's a psychologist. And today she's going to help us kind of deal with everything that's going on in the news with the coronavirus, things that are happening around the world as well as we tune in every day. See what's happening, more closings, more, postponing of events and things like that. Here in Chicago, for example, we just had to cancel the opening that we had scheduled for next week, right? At the time of this podcast. Again, because there's a lot of mandatory closings here in the city. We actually were in New York last week, for the Armory show, my wife and I, right when the news broke up also of cases starting to show up in New York. And, there's a lot of tension in the air. No matter how you take this or what approach you take or how you feel about it, the reality is still the same, right? There's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of fear by so many people, all kinds of things that can really clutter our mind as artists, really, and as an individual, in general. So what I did is I invited my wife to talk about how can we protect our mindset, not how we protect ourselves from the virus, because I'm not a doctor. She's not a physician either. She's a psychologist, and, she is an expert on mindset and wellness. And so she gave us some really great advice, actually 5 tips or 5 kind of things to consider anytime, you and I or anyone is going through, a season like we're going right now with the coronavirus, or as we're going through other things in our life, other difficulties in life. I think these things kind of help us to be grounded. And those are kind of like what she's doing. 5 tips to help us be grounded, in the face of adversity, whatever that may be. Right now it's coronavirus, 5 years from now will be something else, right? There's always something to be worried about. There's always something. That's kind of the way life works, right? So I wanted to share with you because I think it will be very helpful, very useful. Through my Art Next Level Academy, I work with artists with over 25 different countries. And the reality is that, every day I'm in contact with artists who are, in Italy, who are in France, who are, in some of the parts where, things are kind of heated right now in terms of the virus, and Asia as well. So, talking to some of those artists, and the concerns that they have, the things that they have gone through already, so this episode really is for everyone. Maybe this is something that you are experiencing right now, and you're going through this season of fears and uncertainty. Or maybe it really hasn't come your way, and maybe it will not come your way. But, still, it's a good episode to think about, to consider, even when you go through your own adversities in life. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for being here, my friends. I really appreciate you. If you want to check out, some of the other content that I put out, besides the podcast, just about every day I put something out. Just follow me on Instagram at Sergio Gomez Art. Again, Sergio Gomez Art on Instagram. You can, follow my stories every day, the mini videos that I put, Breakfast with Sergio episodes. And actually, if you want to have Breakfast with Sergio as a podcast, you can also subscribe to the Breakfast with Sergio podcast show. All you got to do on your device and the app that you use for podcast, just search for Breakfast with Sergio. You'll find it. It's a separate podcast from this one. But again, it's one in which if you prefer to take the content through audio form, that's where you will find it. And of course, in my YouTube channel, you'll find, a huge library of topics that I've covered as well. So on YouTube, just do a search for Breakfast with Sergio, and you will find me just about everywhere. So thank you, my friends, for being here. And now, without further delay, here is my conversation with Dr. Yanina Gomez. Welcome back, my friends, to Breakfast with Sergio. I'm so happy to be here today with Dr. Yanina Gomez. who's going to come and kind of help us out to, put the mindset in the right place. As you know, we are going through difficult times right now with the coronavirus, but actually this conversation can serve for any other time in which, we may experience hardship in some way or form. So, and especially when things are sometimes out of our control, right? Things that we cannot necessarily fix ourselves, but we all can, kind of work with our mindset. So
yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for having me back. We're going to be talking about 5 things you can do to stay grounded during this difficult time, because, we have to face what is in front of us, and we have to make that choice, whether we want to go into the panicky mode or we want to go into the more proactive mode. I'm going to be giving some tips for artists and also for parents, for moms, and for everyone else, for anyone who will be or are going through all these things. So the first tip that I want to share with you today is to take the time to accept the new reality and prepare. It is a process that we go through when things like that, when difficult situations and difficult circumstances that are out of our control happen. At the beginning, we try to ignore it. We try to imagine that it's not us, it's them, or it's happening over there. We are okay over here. It's very important that we take the time to accept it, that it might not be exactly next door, but it's around, and it's not about if. At this point, it's about when it's going to get closer to you. So take that time to process that. Give yourself time to process the new reality that you're facing, again, whether it's temporary or not, and prepare for it. So give yourself time to do that, to prepare.
Right. And in this episode, we are not talking about, how to prepare for the for the virus itself, right? Because we are not doctors. You are a doctor in psychology, right? Not a physician. So we are talking about how we can do ourselves to
the
be
emotional part of it.
Emotional part, exactly.
The emotional part of it.
So the first one, as you said, is to accept the new reality, which is something that we have been talking about here at home. So having someone to talk to, I think it helps too.
It helps a
to
lot.
kind of process ideas, and that sometimes you just go right into the news and you get bombarded. But I think it helps to have someone to talk to and say, help process, what's happening in the world. I think that's really good. So that's number one.
That's number one. The number 2 will be to educate yourself. Follow trusted resources and follow their advice. There's a lot of information out there from people that have no qualifications to provide advice.
Right.
So it's very, very important that you educate yourself about these circumstances, about this virus, but go to medical resources, because that's their expertise. So don't just because you see it in social media, don't
just because somebody
right
posted
away.
it doesn't mean it's good.
A friend of yours posted something, don't believe it. Here we always, like, every time we share something in our home, my question is always like, what type of resources where is it from? Right? It's always, where is that resource from? Is it from a trusted institution? Be careful where you go, what you read, and make sure that your resources are trusted, that they know what they're talking about, and follow their advice.
Right,
it's
exactly.
very, very important.
So that's number 2, right?
Yes.
Educate ourselves so that we know what's going on. How about number 3?
Number 3 will be to avoid hysteria and fear, as these emotions will not allow you to think rationally and might lead you to an emotional breakdown. So it's very important that we stay calm, that we avoid hysteria, that we avoid fear, because when we are under those circumstances, when we are fearful, when we're out of our control, we cannot think through. And what happens is that will lead to an obsession that might lead to an emotional breakdown. So it's very, very important that you stay calm, that you stay grounded.
So let's go to number 4.
Number 4 will be to find a balance between education and obsession.
Okay.
Right? And this one is very, very important, because we're seeing it in social media. People are panicking, and they're just going on like a constant spreading of fear in social media. You see it over and over. People keep on sharing these posts that are just instilling fear and not educating us. And again, they're not necessarily from sources that are experts in that area, in that field. So you know what? If you see a post of someone that is instilling fear, just keep scrolling rather. Just keep scrolling. Don't share fear. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help anybody. So it's important that you find that balance between education and and obsession. And it's not good that you are, that to be constantly reading and searching and searching. Again, it goes back to, are you educating yourself intellectually, or are you feeding up your fear and obsession? So you got to find that balance between those two, because if you're feeding that obsession, again, you're going to end up in a panic mode and hysteria that will lead possibly to an emotional breakdown. And when you need to be on your senses and make the right choices for your health and for the health of the people around you, if you're in that panic mode, it's not going to be the best decision.
And this is to happen. I mean, it happened to me the first few days. I was like, we were in New York actually when, a lot of the news broke down in New York, and, more cases were found in New York City and so on. And so it was so easy to just kind of like read the next thing after the next one, after the next one. And a lot of times the same news, just in different forms or ways.
Right.
And it just continued to like be rain over and over of the same.
There's so much our minds, our bodies, and our souls can take. And if you're constantly, if it becomes an obsession and you're constantly feeding bad news to your mind and your body, again, it's just not healthy.
You can't sleep.
You can't sleep, and then you become anxious, and it's just too much. So, take care of yourself, so that you are able to take care of others.
So help us with that one. How can we do that?
To number 5, which is you have to take time to recenter and decompress. This is very, very important. Every day. Again, we're bombarded with all these horrible news and all these things that we are hearing from different sources. And it's a lot to take in and take in and take in. So there has to be a point in your day every day that you have to give yourself time to decompress and recenter. I call them, in my mom's group, I call them joyful moments.
Okay.
You have to add joyful moments to your life, even during circumstances that are very difficult, because you have to find that balance. You have to find that place in which you can go back to, to ground yourself and recenter so you can face what awaits for you the day after. And some examples, artists they have an amazing skill and talent that they can do that. You want to go over that?
Right. Of course, we can always go into our studio, right? We can always go into a studio. And even though it's hard sometimes, because, I'm as an artist, been going to my studio, and actually a couple nights ago, I just can't. I cannot concentrate. I'm not gonna go in. Yesterday I went in and I did some work, and trying to also remember that we are artists, right? We're doing the thing that we love, and sometimes making the art kind of helps us process what's happening in the world, but not going in the studio with the radio on and see the latest setup, because then it becomes more of a stressful situation. But rather, as you say, also decompressing from everything that's happening in the world, so that we can center ourselves. And I feel like when we do that, then we wake up even in the morning. We sleep better. We wake up in the morning even with more clarity to to tackle the issues of the day.
Yeah, you're giving yourself a moment to separate from what is going on out there, so that you can start again the next day. And if you're a mom, if you're a parent, some ways that you can consider is, it's very important that you talk to your children, that you talk to your children about it, process it with your children, and again, make sure that you're providing actual facts, not what you think it is and it is not. So they need to hear from you. They need to hear your point of view. They're looking for comfort and security, and that's why as parents we have to stay calm. We have to be careful about how we present ourselves, because our children can feel our energy.
They're like sponges, right?
Yes,
they can absorb how
and
we
if
feel.
they feel that you are you're fearful and there's hysteria going on, if you're out of control, they're gonna feel the same way. They're not gonna feel safe. They need that safety net that only you can give. So mom, dad, stay calm, have conversations, get the facts, talk with them. Other things you can do, now it seems to be that we're going to be more inside. So, take an opportunity of this situation to have game nights, spend more time together with your children. But it's important that you do stay calm. And if you are not a parent, or if you're not an artist, you might have some hobbies that you used to do and you have been so busy that you put them aside. Revisit those hobbies. Maybe you might want to start start to work on those hobbies that you used to have before. Maybe watch a movie.
You like to. That's how you decompress.
I like watching
you're a
movies.
psychologist.
Yes, I watch movies, and I might not watch the entire movie. I just watch like half of it, and then I stop and go to bed, and then I watch the other half next 2 days from now, because I use it to decompress mainly. Another thing you can do, meditation, prayer. Of course, prayer can do wonders. Reading can be a good thing that you to do to decompress. Listen to your favorite album, music, and something that we know that it works very well, especially during difficult times like this, that there's a lot of tension, is comedy.
Laughter, right?
Laughter helps a lot. So maybe watch a comedy
relaxes
show.
your muscles,
Yeah,
and
because
your
your
neck, your back.
tension, everything. Laughter is so wonderful. It helps so much. So consider watching a comedy show or laugh, it's okay. It's okay that in moments that are tense to give yourself the opportunity to laugh. So
Well, Dr. Yanina, you have given us some great advice. So thank you, friends, for watching this video again. Share it with your friends. This might be a good one to share with your friends, actually. And thank you so much. Be safe, and we'll see you in the next episode of Breakfast with Sergio. Have a great day.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.